Following the Battle of New York in 2012, Adrian Toomes and his salvage company are contracted to clean up the city, but their operation is taken over by the Department of Damage Control, DODC, a partnership between Tony Stark and the US government. Enraged at being driven out of business, Toomes persuades his employees to keep the Chitauri technology they have already scavenged and use it to create and sell advanced weapons, including a flying Vulture suit Toomes uses to steal Chitauri power cells. 8 years later, after being drafted into the Avengers by Stark to help with an internal dispute in Germany, Peter Parker resumes his studies at the Midtown School of Science and Technology when Stark tells him he is not yet ready to become a full-time Avenger. Parker quits his school's academic decathlon team to spend more time focusing on his crime-fighting activities as Spider-Man. His best friend, Ned, eventually discovers his secret identity. Parker comes across Toomes' associates, Jackson Bryce, Shocker, and Herman Schultz, selling weapons to local criminal Aaron Davis. Parker saves Davis before being caught by Toomes in the Vulture suit and dropped in a lake, nearly drowning after becoming tangled in a parachute built into his suit. He is rescued by Stark, who is monitoring the Spider-Man suit he gave Parker and warns him against further involvement with the criminals. Toomes accidentally kills Bryce with one of their weapons, and Schultz becomes the new Shocker. Parker and Ned study a weapon Bryce left behind, removing its power core. When a tracking device on Schultz leads to Maryland, Parker rejoins the decathlon team and accompanies them to Washington, D.C. for their national tournament. Ned and Parker disable the tracker Stark implanted in the Spider-Man suit and unlock its advanced features. Parker tries to stop Toomes from stealing weapons from a DODC truck but is trapped inside, causing him to miss the decathlon tournament. When he discovers that the power core is an unstable Chitauri grenade, he races to the Washington Monument, where the core is activated and explodes, trapping Ned and their friends in an elevator. Parker saves them, including his classmate, and crush Liz. Days later, in New York City, aboard the Staten Island ferry, Parker captures Toomes' new buyer, Mac Gargan, but Toomes escapes and a malfunctioning weapon tears the ferry in half. Stark helps Parker save the passengers, but confiscates his suit as punishment for his recklessness. Parker returns to his high school life and asks Liz to go to the homecoming dance with him. On the night of the dance, he discovers that Toomes is Liz's father. Deducing Parker's secret identity, Toomes threatens him. Parker realizes Toomes is planning to hijack a DODC plane transporting weapons from Avengers Tower to the team's new headquarters in upstate New York. He leaves the dance and dons his old homemade Spider-Man suit. Though he is ambushed outside by Schultz, he defeats him with Ned's help. He races to Toomes' lair, where Toomes attacks Parker, destroying the building's support columns, and leaves Parker to die, trapped in the rubble of the collapsed building. Gaining the motivation from his inner strength, Parker escapes and intercepts the plane, steering it to crash on the beach at Coney Island. He and Toomes continue fighting, ending with Parker saving Toomes' life after the damaged Vulture suit explodes. Parker leaves Toomes for the police, along with the plane's cargo. After her father's arrest, Liz moves away. Parker declines an invitation from Stark to join the Avengers full-time, and Stark proposes to Pepper Potts. Stark also returns the Spider-Man suit to Parker, who puts it on just as his Aunt May walks in. In a mid-credits scene, an incarcerated Gargan approaches Toomes in prison, saying he has heard that the latter knows Spider-Man's real identity, though Toomes denies this. In Ixtenco, Mexico, Nick Fury and Maria Hill investigate an unnatural storm and encounter the Earth Elemental. Quentin Beck, a superpowered individual, arrives and defeats the creature. In New York City, the Midtown School of Science and Technology completes its year, which was restarted to accommodate the students who disintegrated 5 years earlier due to Thanos' actions. They had reappeared unaged thanks to the actions of the Avengers. The school organizes a 2-week summer field trip to Europe, where Peter Parker, who is still mourning the death of his mentor Tony Stark, plans to reveal to classmate MJ his attraction to her. Happy Hogan informs Parker that Fury intends to contact him, but Parker ignores Fury's phone call. Parker and his classmates travel to Venice, Italy, where the water elemental attacks. While Parker helps protect his classmates, Beck arrives and defeats the creature. Fury meets with Parker and gives him Stark's eyeglasses. The glasses enable him to communicate with and take command of the artificial intelligence Edith, which has access to Stark Industries' databases and commands a large orbital weapons supply. Beck claims to have entered from an alternate reality within the multiverse, where the 4 elementals killed his family and destroyed his civilization. With only the fire elemental left to destroy, Beck predicts it will attack Prague. Parker declines Fury's invitation to join the fight and returns to his class trip, but Fury secretly changes the class's itinerary to divert the students to Prague. Parker is forced to help Beck fight the fire elemental to again protect his friends. Beck manages to destroy the creature with Parker's help. Fury and Hill invite Parker and Beck to Berlin to discuss forming a new superhero team, but Parker decides that Beck should go alone and transfers control of Edith to him. Once Parker leaves, Beck celebrates alongside ex-Stark Industries employees with whom he had been working to masquerade as a superhero. Beck, who was fired from his position as Stark's holographic illusion specialist due to his unstable nature, uses advanced projectors to simulate his powers and the elementals. He plans to use Edith's orbital weaponized drones to increase the scale of his illusions and fraudulently establish himself as an Avenger-level hero. After MJ tells Parker she knows he is Spider-Man, they discover that a piece of debris she retrieved during the battle with the fire elemental is a projector, and the pair realize Beck's deception. Parker travels to Berlin to warn Fury, but Beck tricks him with an elaborate illusion, forcing him to reveal the names of his friends who know about Beck's plan and causing Parker to get hit by a train. Beck is unaware that Parker, though injured, has survived. In the Netherlands, Parker contacts Hogan, who flies him to London, where his classmates are. Beck uses Edith to orchestrate a fusion of all the elementals. He intends to kill Parker's friends during the staged attack, as Beck is concerned that they will expose him with their knowledge. Parker disrupts the illusions, and an enraged Beck attacks him with drones. Parker regains control of Edith and defeats Beck, who is hit by a misfired gunshot from one of the drones. Before he dies, Beck tells his associate William Ginter Riva to retrieve data from the drones. After returning to New York City, Parker begins a relationship with MJ. In a mid-credits scene, J. Jonah Jameson of thedailybugle.net broadcasts doctored footage of the London incident in which Beck frames Spider-Man for the drone attack and his death before exposing Spider-Man's secret identity to the world, much to Parker's shock. In a post-credits scene, Fury and Hill are revealed to be the Skrulls Talos and Soren in disguise, under orders from the real Fury, while he is away in space commanding a group of Skrulls. After Quentin Beck frames Peter Parker for his murder and reveals that Peter is Spider-Man, the Department of Damage Control arrests Peter, his girlfriend Michelle MJ Jones Watson, his best friend Ned Leeds, and his aunt May Parker. Lawyer Matt Murdock gets Peter's charges dropped, but the group grapples with negative publicity. After Peter's, MJ's, and Ned's MIT applications are rejected, Peter goes to the New York Sanctum to ask Dr. Stephen Strange for help. Strange starts casting a spell that would make everyone forget Peter is Spider-Man, but it is corrupted when Peter repeatedly requests alterations to let his loved ones retain their memories. Strange contains the corrupted spell. At Strange's suggestion, Peter tries to convince an MIT administrator to reconsider MJ's and Ned's applications. He is attacked by Otto Octavius, who rips nanotechnology from Peter's Iron Spider suit. This bonds with Octavius's mechanical tentacles and allows Peter to control them. As Norman Osborn arrives and attacks, Strange teleports Peter back to the Sanctum and locks Octavius in a cell next to Kurt Connors. Strange explains that the corrupted spell summoned people from other universes within the multiverse who know Spider-Man's identity. He orders Peter, MJ, and Ned to find and capture the others. They locate and retrieve Max Dillon and Flint Marko at a military research facility. Osborn reclaims control of himself from his split Green Goblin personality and destroys the Goblin mask. He gets help from May until Peter retrieves him. While discussing their battles with Spider-Man, Osborn, Octavius, and Dillon realize they were pulled from their universes just before their deaths. Strange prepares to reverse the contained spell and send the villains back to their respective universes. But Peter argues that they should first help each villain to possibly change their fates upon their return. When Strange refuses, Peter steals the spell, traps Strange in the mirror dimension, and takes the villains to Happy Hogan's apartment. He uses Stark Industries technology to cure Octavius. Before Peter can cure anyone else, the Goblin persona retakes control of Osborn. The Goblin convinces the other villains to betray Peter and fatally wounds May. Before she dies, May tells Peter that with great power there must also come great responsibility. Ned discovers that he can create portals using Strange's sling ring, which he and MJ use to try to locate Peter. They instead find Peter 2 and Peter 3. Alternate versions of Peter who were also summoned from the villains' universes by Strange's spell. The group finds this universe's Peter, Peter 1, who is mourning May and ready to send the villains home to die. The alternate Peters share stories of losing loved ones and encourage Peter 1 to fight in May's honor. The three Peters develop cures for the villains and lure them to the Statue of Liberty. Peter 1 and Peter 2 cure Connors and Marko, while Octavius helps cure Dillon. Ned accidentally frees Strange from the mirror dimension. The Goblin unleashes the contained spell, breaking the barriers between universes and pulling in countless others who know Peter's identity. Strange attempts to hold them off, while an enraged Peter 1 tries to kill the Goblin. Peter 2 stops him, and Peter 3 helps Peter 1 inject the Goblin with his cure, restoring Osborn's sanity. Peter 1 realizes that the only way to protect the multiverse is to erase himself from everyone's memory, and requests Strange do so while promising MJ and Ned that he will find them and remind them who he is. Strange reluctantly casts the spell, and everyone returns to their respective universes, including Eddie Brock, who unknowingly leaves behind a piece of the Venom symbiote. 2 weeks later, Peter visits MJ to reintroduce himself to her and Ned, but decides against it. While mourning at May's grave, he has a conversation with Hogan and is inspired to carry on, making a new Spider-Man suit and resuming his vigilantism.